Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report, and coming up here on today's show, my top 10 players that I want all of y'all to watch at this weekend's NFL Scouting Combine. I do have some really cool news, though, to get into before we get into today's show. I am now on Locals. Raiders Report is on Locals, so everyone give a big old round of applause there. And if you're wondering, what is that exactly? It's a place where I'm going to be dropping exclusive videos. Expanded access to who? But to me. And I've been trying really hard to go ahead and do this. So if you guys want to go ahead and join, the link is going to be in the comments. It's going to be in the description of today's video. Let's keep building this awesome community that we have. RaidersReport.locals.com. So the NFL Scouting Combine, here's the schedule that's going on today. And the dates and all this that you see are when that they're actually going to be working out, right? Because it's a entire process from top to bottom. But today, tight ends, quarterbacks, wide receivers. March 4th, offensive linemen, running backs, defensive linemen, and linebackers on March 5th. And then on Sunday, defensive backs, place kickers, and some more special teams, guys. So what I want you guys to do, because the Raiders Report is built on the interaction, go down to the comment section right now and let me know, which position are you most excited to watch? Whether that's wide receiver, quarterback, whether it's offensive line, please go ahead and let me know. Now, I did end up ranking these players from 10 all the way down to 1 based on which guys I am going to be looking at the closest. At number 10, it's the wide receiver from Clemson, Justyn Ross, who is already met with Las Vegas. Josh McDaniel has already talked about him. The issue is this. He had spinal surgery before the 2020 season, which kept him out. And don't look at his numbers from 2021, because in 2018 to 2019, before that injury to Ross, a lot of people, I would say, was probably one of the top wide receivers out there. And at 6'4", 205 pounds with those long strides, really curious to see how this guy ends up testing out. The other reason why his numbers weren't that great this year, Clemson's offense stunk. Let's go to number 9 here, and I really think that there is a battle for the top 2 defensive tackles in this year's draft class, and it's funny because they both play on Georgia. If you're looking for somebody who's more of a pass rusher than a run stopper, Devonte Wyatt is the guy. He is an average athlete, but the thing that I love, and you guys know this, I love effort, and he's the one of those dudes where, okay, the running back got through the line of scrimmage, then you see Wyatt, a big old DT, running 5-10 yards down the field to make a tackle. Love it. His lateral quickness is really impressive. I've heard a few people throw out the name Aaron Donald. He's not Aaron Donald. I get it. He's not as big as Jordan Davis, but he is laterally quick, and he can get between tackles. 35 tackles, 2.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. The reason why I have Jordan Davis ranked higher is because, personally, I think Davis fits better with what the Raiders defense is going to do a little bit more than Devonte Wyatt. So as I mentioned earlier on the top of the show, I am joining Locals, and I want you guys to too as well. And the reason is I've been working my freaking tail off, and I know I tell you guys this all the time, that I want to provide only Raiders content. That's my goal. And if you guys support me and you want more videos from me, the Raiders Report, and get to know me on a more personal level, then you need to join at RaidersReport.locals.com. Some of the benefits that you're going to be able to get: exclusive weekly live streams. I know I go live every single Tuesday here on YouTube. Well, guess what? Now I'm going to do an extra live show, but only on Locals. Members, you guys are going to get to pick the content. If I had $1 for every time somebody's like, oh, don't talk about Derek Carr trade rumors anymore. Well, guess what? If you're a member, you get to pick if you want me to do draft, free agency, all that. You're going to get early access to videos. I dropped my top 3 players on Locals yesterday. You're also going to get end screen credit. What does that mean if you're a movie buff? Shout out to Jack. You know how, like, in the end of a movie, you get those credits? If you're one of the first 100 people, you're going to be in my movie credits at the end of every show, and I'm going to do more segments where I'm just going to have a good time, like sipping beers, talking with y'all. We're going to do Zoom calls. It's going to be a hell of a time. So remember, join me, Raiders.locals.com. If you want to become a member, here's what it is. It's $10 a month or $100 a year, so the first 2 months are free. The first 10 annual members get to do a Raiders Report intro video with me, so I know how I start off every show. Raider Nation, what's going on? You can do that, or you can do whatever kind of intro you want. Just please, no nudity. And then the first 100 members, you're going to get a Raiders Foundation t-shirt, and I promise, Founders t-shirt, excuse me. And I promise you it's going to be with it. Really sweet. So please support the show, become a member, and at the end of the day, I always say Raider Nation is my second family, and if you want to continue to help me make more content and continue to grow the Raiders Report, then please become a member, because I'm just being honest with y'all. If I don't get enough members, I won't be able to do it, and then I got to go back to doing other NFL stuff. So please, Raider Nation, don't let me down. Let's go to player number 8 here. It's Bernhard Raimann, the offensive lineman from Central Michigan. He still has a lot to learn to play tackle, and I get it. He's a fast learner. He's a big athletic guy. But a lot of people don't know this. He was the tight end when he first came to college, and I'm always a sucker for these stories because I'm like, wait a minute. He was a tight end when he first came into school. Then he only had like a year or two to learn underneath his belt of offensive tackle. And now people want to take him in the first round. I do think that he is a left tackle. He might be athletic enough to switch over to right tackle. But asking a kid to go tight end, left tackle to right tackle in a short amount of time might not be a player that I want to take in round 1. However, he's somebody that you should watch this weekend. Here are some other offensive guards that I want the nation to go out and look at. Kenyon Green. Really like his versatility from Texas A&M. Zion Johnson, don't see him going in round 1, could go in early round 2. And then Darian Kinnard, the offensive guard out of Kentucky. At number 7 of my players to watch at the NFL Scouting Combine, it's Nakobe Dean. Dean flies all over the football field. I can literally hear my dad telling me, Mitch, you got to be like flies on ship. Just fly everywhere, go after the football. He can run stop, he can cover, and for the love of God, can we finally get a linebacker that can cover a tight end down the seam? I liked what I saw out of Divine Diablo, but if you tell me right now I get Denzel, Perriman, Nakobe Dean, and then you also throw in somebody like Divine Diablo, that's 3 really solid linebackers. The other thing coaches rave about is his leadership skills, because this dude has leadership skills out the wazoo. Over 68 tackles. He's breaking up passes. He can do everything that you're looking for in a linebacker. Now, here are some other linebackers that I also want you guys to look out for. Devin Lloyd is actually the number 1 ranked linebacker on my board. I just don't think he's going to be available at 22, so not that you don't have to watch him. You should. He's a hell of a player. Quay Walker, Muma, is one of my favorite linebacking prospects out there. Troy Anderson from Montana State. This dude played quarterback, running back, and linebacker and had 154 tackles last year. And then the last guy I want you guys to at least keep an eye on is Damon Clark. At number 6 here, it's a wide receiver, and it's Garrett Wilson. I know a lot of people that I talk to in terms of NFL draft analysts, they regard him as the top wide receiver in the class. He is an incredible athlete. If you put on the tape, if you watch him, you can't deny that he's an incredible athlete. You can't. His leaping ability, he's going to put up some sick numbers at the combine. His yards after the catch, really impressive. The one thing, though, he definitely needs to work on is being a better route runner. 6 foot, 190 pounds, over 1,000 yards, 12 touchdowns. I like Garrett Wilson, but I often say I want a receiver, and the way that I rank my guys is more built on how will they fit with the Raiders, not how just good they are in general. So what I want you guys to do is never miss out on any Raiders content, whether I'm posting it here, whether I'm posting it on locals. So make sure you subscribe for free Raiders videos all off season long. Hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications. I want to get to 110,000 subs. At number 5 here, we're going to get into a defensive back here. It's Trent McDuffie, and the more and more tape I watch on McDuffie, the more and more I'm starting to like this kid. A 3-year starter who always got better. I like when I see somebody who gets better year in and year out. That tells me that you're coachable. And with the new coaches that the Las Vegas Raiders brought in, they're also good teachers. A lot of people out there can make the argument. The best coverage corner in this year's draft. He allowed 16 catches on 296 total snaps this year. That is redunculous. Heck, some of the people that I really know have him as the number 1 overall corner. He's my number 3 ranked corner, but I do like him a lot. He could face some issues because he is a little bit undersized. One of my favorite prospects in this year's draft, and I've been keeping close tabs on Ahmad Sauce Gardner probably since 2019 because my guy Tom Downey said, this is going to be a dude that you have to keep your eyes on. And he is. He's my favorite cornerback prospect in this year's draft. If I'm being 100% with y'all, his long lankiness, his athletic ability, his tuition or tenacity, that's the word I'm looking, tenacity and intuition, it reminds me a lot of Richard Sherman. And the other thing is, I understand, he played at Cincinnati. Go turn on the tape, watch what that guy did against Jameson Williams. He shut him out. And for the whole regular season, he didn't give up more than 135 receiving yards. So 40 tackles, 3 picks, 4 pass breakups at 6'3", 200. If he puts up some gaudy numbers, this guy might go in the top 10. Here are some other cornerbacks to watch. And not that I don't like Derek Stingley Jr. I actually like him a lot, but he's hurt and he's not going to be in this whole combine thing. So that's why he's on this list here kind of thing. You got Kyler Gordon, Kyle Elam, Tariq Woolen. Tariq Woolen is definitely somebody to keep in mind because he's like 6'4", 210 pounds from UTSA, and apparently he ran a 4.2 flat 40, which would be the fastest of all time. If he runs that, he could actually creep up into the first round. Like, that's how ridiculous that would be. And then Roger McCreary from Auburn. Good player. Don't see him going in round 1. Seeing him more in the middle of round 2. Let's get into my top 3 players. And remember, if you would have hit me up on locals, remember that's raiders.locals.com. You would already know my top 3 players. Coming in at number 3, the defensive tackle from Georgia. It's Jordan Davis, who I just see him as being the best defensive tackle in this year's draft for the Las Vegas Raiders. He's going to fit great in a 3-4 scheme. Sure, some people are a little bit worried that he gets tired too quick. I mean, you'd get tired too if you were 6'6", 340 pounds. If you watch, he cannot be blocked by one player, and I'm very confident saying that whether it's in college or in the NFL, nobody's going to block this guy one-on-one, which means, okay, you're going to have to double-team him, which means Max Crosby and Ikakwe, one of those guys is going to get a one-on-one. I like my chances a lot. Patrick Graham's system is also going to be a lot of different looks, a lot of different things. Jordan Davis at 6'6", 340 pounds is athletic enough, and he's good enough to play in any system that we want to put him in. Here are some other defensive tackles that I want you guys to at least keep your mind on. Travis Jones I like, but to be honest with y'all, kind of reminds me of Jonathan Hankins, which is not a bad thing. The Raiders need a defensive tackle that can stop the run because they have 5 entering free agency. Travis Jones is a good name, but he just doesn't have nearly the upside of somebody like a DeMarvin Leal from Texas A&M, Perrion Winfrey, and then Phidarian Mathis is another player to keep in mind. Let's go to number 2 here. It's Chris Olave, the wide receiver from Ohio State. I believe Olave may be the most complete wide receiver in the draft. He's not the fastest. He's not the best overall, player, athlete. I do think he might be the best route runner, and I always give him the comp of Mario, because if you've ever played a video game, Mario wasn't excellent at anything. He was just really freaking good at everything. So when you look at great speed, his route running ability, the reason why I have Chris Olave as my number 1 ranked wide receiver is because when I look at this offense, when I think of what works with Derek Carr, I think of a young, polished receiver that can just get open. And that's exactly what Olave does. Even this weekend, he already said that, hey, I've already met with the Raiders, so that tells me that they're interested. He also went ahead and said that his big brother is a Raiders fan, and he would love to come to Las Vegas. Here are some other wide receivers that I want you all to watch. David Bell from Purdue. Big, lanky receiver. I took him in my mock draft, which if you haven't seen that yet, please go ahead, check it out. It's on the channel. Really like what I saw out of him. Jihad Dotson. I've actually been talking to some people. I think he could fall into round 2. I don't know if he falls to pick 53, but a really good explosive receiver. Drake London and Treylon Burks. These are going to be the guys that the media talks about the most because Drake London, great player. Obviously, he's got his whole injury thing going on. But Treylon Burks is going to light up the combine. The numbers that this 6'3", 220-pound receiver out of Arkansas are going to put up are going to be redunculous. All I say is this, though. I like Treylon Burks a lot. If you put him in some other teams, he's going to be a good fit. I just don't see Treylon Burks with this offense being the fit that I would want at pick number 22. And then the last guy is George Pickens, another dude who's had some injuries. I've also heard some from NFL executives that say Pickens could be up there as a top 3 receiver if he was fully healthy. So here's your opportunity. I know that wide receiver is a big-time need for this offense. I mean, it is, right? You can't go into the year with only Hunter Renfrow and Bryan Edwards. You need 2 other receivers. And I do think that the Raiders go out and they address the wide receiver need with one of their first 2 picks, whether that be 22 or whether that be 53. It's going to happen. So I want to know, who is your favorite wide receiver in this year's draft? Which means, if you can count, coming in here at number 1, it's Trevor Penning, the offensive tackle from Northern Iowa. I'm not sitting here saying that Trevor Penning is my favorite prospect. I'm saying that he is the top player that Raider Nation, that Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler need to go out and watch. Why? He's the best right tackle in the draft, and right tackle is the biggest need for the silver and black. You know those old school Raiders? Like, I'm talking about the Gene Upshaws, the Jim Ottos. Those were tough mother effers, and that's what Trevor Penning is. He's a tough dude, and when you line up against him, he's going to let you know. He's going to block you, he's going to pancake you, and then he might even teabag you as well, because that's the type of dude that Penning is. His work ethic is through the roof. He was told that he had to put on muscle. He also was told to put on some weight. He added 100 pounds since going to college. What does that tell me? His body is continuing to grow, and at 6'7", 320 pounds, long, lanky. If he has a good combine, don't be surprised if he starts going up even higher in boards, and if the Raiders want him, you better take him at pick number 22. Here are some other offensive tackles to watch. Ikem Ekwonu, Evan Neal, Charles Cross. I see all three of those players going in the top 10. The reason why that's important is because the later that these players fall in the draft, the later I think Penning could end up going. And if they have an amazing combine, well, guess what? Then that might actually help out Penning a little bit. Daniel Faalele, the offensive tackle from Minnesota, he's like 6'8", 350 pounds. He's just a mountain of a man. However, needs to sharpen those skills a little bit. And then Rosenthal. I took this guy in round 5 in my mock, but he's going to put up some numbers because he's a really good athlete. Just has some off-the-field stuff, which is why he's going to fall in the draft. Here are some other players that I just want you to watch. I don't see the Raiders taking a safety, but you just never know. Kyle Hamilton's my number 1 guy from Notre Dame. Daxton Hill from Michigan. Jaquan Brickser from Penn State. Those are my top 3 safeties. In terms of quarterbacks to watch, I want you guys to remember that Matt Corral, he is not going to be competing in this. Malik Willis, unfortunately for us, is not going to be run the 40-yard dash. Kenny Pickett, I actually have bigger hands than him. We've been measuring our hand size. If you guys want to let me know how big your hands are down in the comments, nothing else. Sam Howell, Carson Strong, and Desmond Ridder. I don't see the Raiders drafting a quarterback, but you're going to hear the media talk a lot about these 5 guys here. So let me know, y'all, will the Raiders draft a QB? Y for yes or N for no? I think this is like the first time in a long time that we haven't been covering all these draft rumors or Derek Carr, this and that. We talk about Derek Carr, but not so much about quarterbacks getting drafted. And yesterday at the NFL Combine, Josh McDaniels said Derek Carr will absolutely, technically you said David, but we'll give him a pass, absolutely be the starting quarterback week 1. Other positions to watch, running back. Again, I do not see the Raiders taking a running back. However, if there's certain value, like I took Kyren Williams, the running back from Notre Dame, in my mock because the value is too good. The more and more tape I watch, here are my top 5 running backs in this year's draft. The top 10 players that I want Raider Nation to watch at this year's Scouting Combine. I'm going to go from 10 and work my way all the way down to 1. Coming in at number 10 is a player that's already met with Las Vegas. It's Justyn Ross, the wide receiver from Clemson. Long, lanky player, coming off spinal surgery, though, in 2020. Devonte Wyatt, him and his teammate Jordan Davis, they're going to compete for the top 2 defensive tackle spots. If you're looking for somebody who's more of a pass rusher, it's Wyatt. If you're looking for a run stopper, it's Davis. Bernhard Raimann, really good athlete. Don't know if he's going to play right tackle, but he's a super athletic guy, and I'm curious to see how he tests. Nakobe Dean, the most likely linebacker that the Raiders take at 22, flies all over the football field, hell of a leader, and he can also run sideline to sideline. One of the best athletes in this year's draft is Garrett Wilson, the wide receiver from Ohio State. We'll see how well he tests, because if he tests really well, I've heard that he could be the first wide receiver taken. The top 5 here, you got Trent McDuffie, arguably the best coverage corner in this year's class, next to Ahmad Gardner, Sauce Gardner, long, lanky, reminds me a lot of Richard Sherman, and both of these players are going to be studs in the NFL. At number 3, it's Jordan Davis, the defensive tackle from Georgia, 6'6", 340 pounds. Chris Olave is my favorite wide receiver to pair with Derek Carr, which is why he's up here. I just want to see how well he tests. He's going to have good speed, and his route running ability is fun. And then Trevor Penning at 6'7", 320 pounds, was an absolute stud at the Senior Bowl and the number 1 right tackle prospect in this year's draft. So what do y'all think here? Who are you going to be watching at the NFL Combine? I'm just genuinely curious. And if you made it this far in the video, I would imagine we're doing something halfway decent around here. So please, if you bleed silver and black, if you like what you saw today, go ahead and like the video. But let me know, who are you going to watch at the NFL Combine this weekend?